everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me.
Down the inside.
Absolutely impossible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronner takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Jarno Watmere is your champion. Hello everyone, good evening, welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, back on your screens as commentator once again, and now we are back for round two after a brilliant start to the season back at Brazil. We now move, still on the Americas continent, we head across to COTA. We are at Texas, everybody, for what I can only describe as a fantastic track for racing, as we know from the halls of history, whether it be PSGL or even the F1 Sim Racing World Championship. We can count on the phenomenal races from the past that include the likes of Jarno Watmere. But we're going to talk you through the new action, of course, that we're going to be seeing this evening. Of course, you're back with us on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. A little bit later, I have to admit. We had a problem going live because TikTok wouldn't let us, hence why we were a little bit late. Unfortunately, to the TikTok audience, it's a nil point tonight. You're joining me, George Morgan, alongside me, Nathan Richards. Nathan, welcome back to PCF1.
Hello, George. Hello, everybody in the chat. Great to be back here on PCF1. It's been a while since I've been here, so great to be back here on a Wednesday night for some of the action with the world's best F1 sim racers and one of my favourite tracks that we have here in PSGL. I think we've been here every season bar two. One of them was we didn't turn up, and the other one was there was an issue with the season, so we just disbanded that track. So it must be a fan favourite here.
I think it is, and we can take a little bit of a look at it in great detail thanks to the one and only two-time F1 Sim Racing champion, Brendan Lee. He's giving us a hot lap guide.
We arrive in COTA, Texas for round two of the PSGL Championship here on F1 2025. This track is known for a few things: tyre temperature, tyre wear, scattered overtaking opportunities, undercuts and overcuts along the way. Most notably, the overtaking opportunities are in Turn 1 and at the end of the back straight in Sector 2. Sector 1, though, is all about being precise with your track limits, getting as close to the white lines as possible, of course, without invalidating. Trying not to overheat your tyres, because if you overheat your tyres, your grip will basically fall off a cliff and you'll be left wondering why you lost the lap time potential comparing to your rivals. Sector 2 is more or less about setting up the exit for this back straight, opening DRS as early as possible and maximising your top speed potential before hitting the oh so critical braking zone here. Cut the inside curbing as much as possible as you go into Sector 3. Sector 3 is more or less about surviving. Your tyre temperature is going to be through the roof at the moment, and if you can just hang on to the car, not let it overheat, overslide and be over dramatic with the car handling characteristics, you'll be on for a great lap time here. Second to last corner, send it over the inside curbing, commit to the blind apex, final apex of the lap, up and over the crest, maximise your traction potential, and that is a lap here in COTA, Texas.
Well, a big thank you to the one, the only Brendan Lee, as always. You join us here at COTA, everybody. As you can see, we're already underway in qualifying. We haven't missed too much. Not many laps actually posted at all through the course of the session so far. We're only seeing a few out laps, a few installation laps from the likes of Ismael Fassi, Ruben Pedreño as well. Nothing that's recorded of note, though. The only thing of note, though, at this point is the fact that Rhys Linton has already retired. He will not be taking any further part in Q1 with 13 minutes or so to go. But I think we've got to talk about at the moment. It says TK on the banner. I apologise to Nathan Richards about that. But Nathan, obviously you're in the commentary box here with us this evening. We've had a brilliant race already back at Brazil. It was a fantastic performance from Otis Lawrence. A little bit of controversy going through it because it looked like Barry Burraman was going to take it after the rubbing shoulders moment between the pair of them on the final lap. Burraman did cross the line first. However, the stewards room ultimately decided that Otis was forced wide in Sector 2 heading into Sector 3. so therefore championship leader. But carrying on from that, he's had wins elsewhere in league racing as well, has carried through that momentum as well previously from the world of F1 sim racing. It's a good time to be Otis Lawrence, is it not?
Certainly. Like I've said before, I've seen him race a couple of times on this game already, and I still think he's probably the quickest driver, genuinely. I think it helps the fact he's also one of the youngest. He's got such a mature mindset for a 17-year-old. You know, I can't believe how quickly he went from being the top of Xbox to the top of the whole game. So I think this game's definitely one to watch for Otis. I think he'll be right up there this season. You know, I think he'll definitely be a championship contender. He's leading it at the moment. And then once we get to F1 sim racing, whenever that comes around, yet again, I think, you know, the bookies will be saying, put him at the top. You know, he's one of the favourites because he is just... It seems unstoppable. Sometimes he might not win on track, but that's when it comes into racecraft, where that's also something he's really matured on over time. I mean, I think we remember a couple of years ago, wasn't his best strength racecraft, but nowadays he's up there at the top with that as well.
He certainly is, folks. We can take a little bit of a reminder back as to what happened last time. We've got the last race result here right in front of us. And as you can see, Otis is the one that's doing pretty much all the talking at the moment. Race winner off the back after the stewards' decision came into account. Burraman dropped to P6 as a result off the back of it. Also, Jarno Watmir featuring second at the end of the Brazilian race. And on top of that, Alfie Butcher down in third too. Longay finished in fourth, Ismail Fassi in fifth, and then of course Burraman finished behind his teammate Benham in seventh as well. Josh Edo representing the Alpine team down in eighth place, with Reese Linton in ninth, Julian Klappenbach in 10th, and Yoni Tormler in 11th. Lucas Blakely in a Mercedes this time in P12 alongside Istvan Pukki, who's 13th. Duncan Hofland in 14th, Pedrenio finished 15th, Crozen in 16th, Ulas Gilderim, who didn't have the race necessarily that many strive for, finished in 17th place ahead of Freddie Rasmussen, who had a very, should we say, dull time at Brazil. Same can be said for Tom Manley and Thomas Ronhart, bizarrely actually losing out right at the start. He apparently had a screen go black on him and therefore wasn't able to make his way through the center S's, hence why he made quite a quick exit out of the race. So therefore did not take the checkered flag, finishing dead last of the running cars, and of course the DNF as well. Fastest lap was taken by Julian Klappenbach on his debut full season appearance here in PCF1, with Otis Lawrence as well taking that pole position. Here is, well, how the standings look. Obviously, the position's very much the same, with Otis Lawrence stood right at the very top. And in terms of the team standings, that of course does make quite the level of significance. It will be, of course, Danny Berejnay and Otis Lawrence representing Alpine this season, making their way to the top of the shop ahead of McLaren, Red Bull, then Ferrari, Aston Martin, Haas, Kick Sauber, Mercedes, VCARB and Williams, as we now head to the next round here at Texas. Also, just a little reminder as how the season grid works. We do have, of course, Otis Lawrence, Danny Berejnay representing Alpine, Duncan Hofland, Nicholas Longay at Aston, Barry Burraman, Ismail Fassi at Ferrari, Reese Linton, Joris Crozen at Haas, Thomas Ronhar at Kick, along with Julian Klappenbach. Then comes Alvaro Carreton, Ruben Pedreño in all-Spanish lineup, once again at Williams. Then we have Tom Manley, Ulas Gilderim at RB, Jarno Watmir, Frederick Rasmussen at Red Bull, Istvan Pukki and Lucas Blakely at Mercedes, Alfie Butcher and Jake Benham in the McLaren. And this is how tonight's grid looks. A few reserves stepping in. Tycho Hardy coming in for Thomas Ronhar, with Josh Edo stepping up for RB as well this week, with Yoni Tormler stepping in at Mercedes for Lucas Blakely, and Wilson Hughes stepping up in place of Alfie Butcher as well at McLaren, joining his good friend Jake Benham. So there we have it. And this is the canvas of where we're going for this campaign. We do have, of course, Brazil checked off our list. Today we're at Texas. Next up, Britain, Netherlands. Then we have a break on August 20th. And next up then, Austria, China, Belgium, Jeddah, then Qatar. We then go on our second break, our last break of the season, before we then head to Bahrain, Australia, Mexico, Vegas, and the grand finale at Abu Dhabi to end this 14-chapter season that we do have. So there you have it. Plenty of action to get your teeth sunk into, and we can now rejoin the action out on track right now, because now we're entering the final 7 minutes and 30 or so of the session. We should be in for a real treat. It's going to be a great one, I'm sure. Obviously, COTA has always delivered, as we have said in the past. And it won't be the only states visit we make either, because we do have Vegas as the penultimate round, as we did allude to. So here we go. We're now underway. Soft tyres on every single car on the track. The intermediates have been put to bed, as we tend to see at the start of every session. I can tell you that Otis Lawrence currently purple in the first sector, Nathan.
Indeed, but the first one out on track is Danny Berejnay, Otis' teammate here this evening, as we just make our way through the end of that middle sector. Purple it says here for us, but of course on that track map it's not always the most accurate, but Danny and Otis certainly a powerhouse of a team this season. Of course Alpine in the past couple of years have sort of been nowhere realistically, but heading into this new season of PSGL and also of course heading into F1 Sim Racing in a few months' time, Danny and Otis, that is a team anybody would be wishing for. As Danny now exits the final corner, will set the first lap of the session, and we're already down into the low 30s.
Yeah, not a bad visit at all for Danny Berejnay, but Otis Lawrence now straight to the top with a 1:30.1. We do have some impressive times coming in from Fredrik Rasmussen as well on his return to PSGL. And he'll be looking to try and rumble in an improved performance on what happened last time that led, of course, to the DNF. No stranger to DNFs is Paul Freddy. We're already seeing as well Barry Burraman, who almost took victory last time, having lost it in the stewards room, a 1:30.3. Still a ways off from Otis Lawrence, but Fredrik Rasmussen, who's purple in the middle sector, as Ishmael Fassi goes second fastest. Rasmussen to the very top. And now enlists the fastest time, very nearly in the 1:29s. As well as Tycho Hardy in his reappearance here to this season. We're also seeing Philip Prejnader jumping into the McLaren. So a little late change that we haven't got on our graphic for the broadcast today. So that's a late change at McLaren. Instead of Wilson Hughes, we're featuring Philip Prejnader. Istvan Pukki across the line in 10th place as well. We also have some other names coming across the line, including the All-Star Jake Benham, who goes 12th fastest.
Indeed, so most of our first times have been set on the border. A few more just crossing the line. We've got Tom Manley there up into P4. Jarno Opmeer heading to the line there, goes only 11th. That is not the best there for Jarno Opmeer, but then again he's only around 2 and a bit tenths off of that top time. It just shows how close the grid here is at PSGL. And then the other cars that were on laps, I think, have all ran into issues. The likes of Ruben Pedreño has had an invalidation, and then we do have Julian Klaffenbach here. I don't think he's on a representative lap at the moment either, nor is Joni Tormala. So at the moment our bottom 5 consists of Philip Prejnader, Julian Klaffenbach, Joni Tormala, Ruben Pedreño, and then Reese Linton, who we have been informed has a qualifying ban. Not the best start for the Haas driver. Of course, did get into the points last time out in P9, P9, but that's going to make it even harder today, starting from dead last.
Yeah, not ideal at all. Obviously, I was quite impressed with Reese Linton's performance last time, I have to say, in his first start as a PCF1 driver. It's always a tough thing to get involved in, given the nature of the competitors you're up against. Of course, being up against many drivers that have performed at the highest level and have competed in a LAN environment in such a championship like the F1 Sim Racing World Championship anyway. So it does carry a lot of pedigree, and many of these drivers do carry a lot of pedigree. Of course, Jarno Opmeer himself, the most successful driver in F1 Sim Racing history, with 3 titles against his name, and also the most successful driver in PSGL as a whole, with 7 titles against his name, including the one that he managed to put together in the PlayStation category. But on PC, he's been dominant, but we've also had names such as Lucas Blakely lift the crown as well, and also Barry Burraman, who currently